Goretti Nabwami, a 45-year-old mother of 4, vividly recalls her 14-year-old self being introduced to a number of men by her father. Her aunt, who was funding her education, had run out of money. Her father saw marriage as the only option available to his daughter.
I
was not ready for marriage. The first suitor was a bus conductor. I rejected him.
Despite her mother's protests, the young girl was married off.
My father accused my mother of blocking my marriage. She finally surrendered and told me to accept the situation. However, I declined to be wedded in church.
The wedding day was her first traumatic experience.
I noticed that the matron was behaving like she was my husband's wife, but I remained calm. My husband told me to remain indoors for a month, and he made sure his siblings guarded me.
The expectations placed on her shocked her to the core. A month after her wedding, Nabwami began facing relentless harassment from her husband.
He used to beat me up and forced me to cultivate a large piece of land. He stopped treating me as his wife.
For months, she endured the stigma of not conceiving. Her husband used the situation as an excuse to torment her.
He advised me to get pregnant quickly, and I was confident that since I was still young, it would be easy.
A year later, Nabwami became pregnant with twins, and by the time her pregnancy was 6 months, her husband had become more physically abusive.
I used to throw up whenever he bought fish. When I vomited, he would kick me viciously, asking me why I was vomiting.
At some point, her husband denied responsibility for her pregnancy, claiming his family did not have a history of giving birth to twins. He later said he wanted only daughters, not sons.
I lived on tenterhooks. I had no control over the gender of the child I was carrying because I am not God.
The distraught mother gave birth to male twins at Mulago Hospital. However, there were complications and one of the newborns had to go into intensive care. Her husband and his family abandoned her.
In the process of pushing out the second twin, his hand broke. I was rushed into theater for an emergency C-section, and during the operation, the baby's head was cut at the back. He had to be taken into the special care unit. So I had one baby with me on the ward, the other in the special care unit, and I had a wound to treat. I was alone in the hospital with no one to help me.
One of the women who volunteered to help her take care of her babies attempted to steal one of them.
The old woman wrapped my baby in a small piece of cloth and put it in a small box and sneaked out of the ward. When I discovered that my baby was not on the bed, I made an alarm. The security officers sealed off all exits and the woman was arrested.
When Nabwami was discharged from the hospital, she did not receive a warm welcome. By then, her husband was in a relationship with another woman and barely gave his family any attention.
My husband disowned our children, claiming that no one in his family had ever had twins.
To fend for her children, Nabwami took on casual work in different homesteads in their areas of residence. However, after some time, her husband put an end to her efforts. By the time the babies were 4 years old, her husband was married to another woman. One day, he told her she was not the right person to take care of his children. He overpowered her and took the twins to his other wife.
I fought him. He beat me, kicked me, and pushed me off the veranda. I finally gave up, and my children were taken away, calling out to me to rescue them.
In the second part of this story, we bring you how Nabwami struggled to find her children and how she lost them almost immediately.